Welcome back everyone. In this video I'm going to be going over two dividend ETFs to provide you with a great dividend yield for high income and also the opportunity for dividend growth. And this combination will not only provide you with great yield, great dividend growth, but also great diversification and also monthly dividends as well. And please remember, if you do enjoy this content, give this video a like. That'll help this video get out there to a wider audience. It would be greatly appreciated, and also subscribe for future content. Now, the first ETF I'm going to be briefly discussing is SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. This is an extremely popular dividend ETF among dividend investors for several reasons. It provides a decent yield and also great dividend growth, and it also has an extremely low expense ratio of 0.06%. So right off the bat, this fund on its own can serve as a great core portfolio that you can invest in for dividends on its own, or a complement in a diversified portfolio. So of course, this ETF is great just by itself for its dividend growth, its yield, and also its diversification. But when paired with another ETF, I think it can do even a bit better. So a little bit about this dividend ETF's yield. It typically swings between 3 to 4% depending on the environment and its share price. And as far as dividend growth ETFs go, this fund is a staple of dividend ETFs because also in addition to yield, the dividend growth. So this ETF has an average 5-year dividend growth rate of 12.88%, and also it has been growing its dividend consistently for approximately 12 years. And this ETF is diversified very well among sectors, with financials leading the way, followed by healthcare and consumer staples. Now, the thing is, with a lot of these dividend ETFs, they're not going to invest so heavily in things like information technology or sectors that don't really pay high dividends, of course, because the intent is to provide a high yield with dividend growth, and information technology really doesn't provide high yield as much. So this fund is going to be overweight in sectors that aren't really so heavily geared toward growth. And this is going to be a great pairing with the next ETF that I'm going to show you. But just to give you an overview of this one, as I said, a great diversification among sectors, especially when you pair this with another ETF. And the ETF does have some great top 10 holdings with Amgen, Home Depot, Texas Instruments, BlackRock, AbbVie, Cisco, Chevron, Verizon, Lockheed Martin, and UPS. And also, this fund does try to keep all of its top 10 holdings at around 4%, give or take about a percentage point or so. So you're going to not see so much top heaviness in the top couple holdings, and you're going to see great weightingness across this entire ETF. And as far as the dividend goes, this ETF does pay quarterly, so every 3 months you are going to expect a dividend. It does pay in December, March, June, and then again in December. So like I said, it is a quarterly paying ETF, and as I scroll down, you're going to see that great dividend growth that this ETF has had over the past decade or so. And as far as past performance go, this ETF does perform extremely well when compared to other dividend ETFs, whether that be based on yield or by dividend growth. So over the previous year, this dividend ETF is up about 7.65%. And over the past 10 years, you do see some great growth there, up almost 100%. Now, when we compare that to another popular dividend ETF, VYM, the Vanguard High Dividend Yield ETF, it has outperformed SCHD slightly over the past year, being up about 13.47%. But the point of these ETFs is to hold long term. So if we look at the 10-year, you do see that this ETF is only up 80.6%, whereas SCHD did perform better, being up 100%. So SCHD on its own is a great dividend ETF for any dividend investor, whether that be somebody going for yield or somebody going for dividend growth. And it can serve as the core of your portfolio that you can invest in all by its own, and you will likely be significantly diversified among sectors. But we can pair this ETF with an extremely high dividend paying ETF, which also takes advantage of diversification because SCHD is not so heavy on technology. And the ETF I am talking about is the extremely popular JEPQ, the JPMorgan Nasdaq Equity Premium Income ETF. And this is an extremely good complement to SCHD. Because unlike SCHD, this ETF is heavy on technology as it tracks the NASDAQ, a very technology heavy index. So if you look at this ETF's top 10 holdings, you will not see much diversification, if any at all, between the top 10. So you have in the top 10, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Broadcom, Tesla, AMD. So again, very tech heavy top 10, which serves as an amazing complement to SCHD. And because of the way this fund operates, it does offer an extremely high dividend that increases with volatility in the market. So when the market is going through high upswings and downswings, this ETF will give a higher dividend. And right now, this ETF is offering a dividend at about 9.45%. And the way this fund operates is that it generates income through a combination of selling options and investing in US large cap growth stocks, seeking to deliver a monthly income stream from associated option premiums and stock dividends. And it seeks to deliver a significant portion of the returns associated with the NASDAQ 100 with less volatility. So as I said, this tracks the NASDAQ 100, which is a very tech heavy index, and it offers a great complement to diversification with SCHD. Now, as the fund page said, this offers a monthly dividend. So a great thing among dividend investors is consistent dividends, and a monthly dividend payment is much loved for dividend investors, and this ETF provides that. So every single month around the first week, you're going to be getting paid a dividend. And the important thing to note is that this operates as a covered call ETF. So unlike SCHD, the dividend payout is going to be a little bit different, and there's really no way to calculate whether it be this month or 5 months, 6 months from now, what this dividend is going to be, because it really is dependent on market volatility. Now, the good thing is you can really intend on this dividend being high, whatever it is. So probably around 6% plus. So you're going to get the dividend growth and the decently high dividend of SCHD with the diversification into technology and also the high dividend of this ETF as well. So the previous month, for every share you had, you would have gotten paid about 42 cents. Whereas in June, you would have gotten paid about 45 cents. Overall, good dividend yield. Now, as far as performance go, the intent of this ETF is designed to provide high income. So you're really not going to see too much capital appreciation, but over the past year, the asset is up 2.89%. So you're going to see maybe some capital growth as long as the NASDAQ grows as well. But if you go over the long term, this ETF was only around since about 2020, and you do see that the capital did erode a little bit, but the dividend largely does make up for that slight bit of capital erosion that you do see. And any potential gains that you do see in the capital is just an added benefit. Now, me personally, I do own SCHD, and I also own JEPI, which is an ETF that does somewhat have a similar methodology in that it gives covered call income to JEPQ. And the reason why I have JEPI over JEPQ is because I already own a significant amount of QQQ, and I don't want that double diversification. So JEPI offers me a little bit of diversification in its own as compared to my other holdings. Now, the point of these ETFs here, SCHD and JEPQ, you may think to yourself how you want to invest. If you are looking for really high income, you may say, hey, I want 60% of JEPQ to get that really high dividend income, and then 40% of SCHD to capture its dividend growth over time, and also into diversification into a conventional dividend ETF. Now, if you want more dividend growth and conventionality, you can basically do, I'll put 60% SCHD and then 40% JEPQ. Whatever your desire is, these ETFs as a combination offer great diversity, great dividend yield, consistent dividends, and also the opportunity for growth and capital appreciation over time because they cover something that each ETF doesn't cover on its own. So I hope that gave you a really quick overview of two great dividend ETFs that you could use to build a great dividend portfolio. Remember, if you did enjoy this content, leave this video a like to get this video out there to a wider audience. It would be greatly appreciated. and also subscribe to stay up to date on future content.